20 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music. You really about to do it? Yeah, they try to break the game, but you can't fake influence. KDLT, during the shortest month of this year, you gonna come like this. You really about to... Okay. This is part 4 of the Super Bowl halftime show breakdown. He been marching through them streets, then made Uncle Sam mad, then unified the divine feminine and divine masculine. He got the game board set up as a dang on PlayStation controller. He got this concrete jungle in the middle of the Super Bowl field. He got Samuel L. Jackson representing Uncle Sam. We know exactly why he picked him. Uncle Sam has never been a white man. All Americans can agree that we never really liked Uncle Sam. Even back then with all them taxes and all, even if you're a racist, he's performing They Not Like Us, and now there is a riot in the street. But he got his 4 women behind him that is going to protect him through all of this. That's why he feels so confident to do this in front of the entire world. You see everybody fighting. This is the industry, the politicians, the higher ups. It's a war going on in these streets. The blood, the justice, and the innocence is fighting, but they all fall down, except for the inner circle of the homies in all white. He is on them tough. He got them all dancing in the middle of the street. He got them coming together in a circle, formulating. Remember how I was talking, the formation has always been the red, the blood at the front. The blood has never been protected. Remember, 0 is canceled. That was the last button. Now they're in the streets of the game. And red is no longer the leader. The blood that's being spilled is no longer the leader of this game. The men in white are the leaders now. So we have purity, peace, innocence, our angels. Then we have the justice, the blue people that is protecting the blood. Then it's protection behind them as well, and the light is behind them. So it's white, blue, red, blue, white, blue, red, cracking the code of the formation that is needed to get this game over. So as I have said, my theory is that Kendrick knows that he's a pawn in this game. Not talking about the Super Bowl. He was purposefully given this position because of who he is. And Jay-Z knows that the Americans need this right now because we are going through an awakening. We realize that the controller of the game, well, this is just the representative. It's just a controller. But the one who actually plays the game is the director of how this game is going to play out. Coming up to his last song, TV Off, and why I'm connecting that him knowing he is a pawn, the light is shining on him. He is the star. And all of the people who came out of that car, he guided them into a way to get the game rigged in the favor of us winning, even though he knows he was put in place to be controlled. The old white man who promised us 40 acres and a mule, Jay-Z sitting at the table with Uncle Sam, plotting to be able to be in some type of control of this influence of our revolutionary upliving. So many people on TikTok are making so many different videos and theories of breakdown of the symbolism of this halftime show. That is how you know that we are in a different mind. We are not as docile as they want us to be. So they need a representative. And Kendrick's connection to our culture and the liberation of this America, he has a bridge between Malcolm and Martin Luther. And that is the perfect pawn in which why we started off this video and this theory that Jaguar Wright were saying that they're going to sacrifice him. I can say that we are in a different time and the revolution will not be televised, and it will be. They're not going to put you on their platform and allow you to do such revolution and liberating things if they can't angle it or sway it into their benefit. Kendrick has always paid homage to all of the fallen soldiers because he knows that everything that has led up to this point and the weight that they have stacked against Americans only exposes them more and more. So if he is sacrificed, he knows that this is going to get the job done. I'm pretty sure everybody involved in liberation and revolution knew the threats to come. But when he performed TV Off and started off by saying somebody has to do it, I'm going to put my foot up on the gas and I'm going to ride this GNX until I can't no more. And I'm going to do it big. He knows what he signed up for. He took out every single button. He turned the TV off and the lights went out and it said game over. Some people said his performance was evil. Some people said that there was breadcrumbs, symbolism, and messages all through the performance. I'm one of those people who didn't watch the Super Bowl, but I did watch his performance. Everybody has their own perspective, but they are not in his shoes of what position he is playing. If you notice, before he turned the TV off, every single person on the button was wearing black. He's sending a message that to beat this game, we got pawns in place everywhere. Good, bad, enlightened, innocent. So turn your TV off, disconnect from this brainwashing and propaganda, and understand that everything is being taken care of. I don't watch football. I don't even care about the Super Bowl. I didn't care about the game and none of that. But this was monumental, whether you look at it as bad or good. I have made comments about Dr. Martin Luther King integrating us into a burning house. I said we need to go on and take our business elsewhere. But am I faulting him for the weight that was on his shoulders and things that he was carrying, getting to the platforms that he needed to get to speak on a level of entirety of America? You running into some pretty elite people, but he passed the torch. And that's what this is about. Some people who are spiritual are putting out so much negativity about this Super Bowl performance. This performance was a ritual, and there's portals that's opening. They're doing energy harvesting. Demons about to come out and all types of stuff. Like, oh my God. Like, this is what I'm talking about. And this beautiful goddess pointed that out, and she was saying that basically this is all how you perceive it, and the more you focus on the negativity and the bad stuff that is happening and stuff that is not even in your reality that they want you to believe in order to continue to contain and hold all this power that you think that they have. She stated that two things can be happening simultaneously at the same time, and this is what I'm talking about with Kendrick. She said that we are in our power, and how you perceive stuff is how it's going to play out. Kendrick said the same thing. We may be on a controller, but we are the ones who control the outcome of this game. It don't matter what they doing or what they putting in place. For Kendrick to take on all of the responsibility of the backlash that he had about him performing in Louisiana and him feeling like he let Lil Wayne down and everybody with their opinions and speaking on everything. Imagine the weight that he is feeling from all of these opinions and everything. He did a great job. Regardless of what he's connected to or the ties, we know that the torch is being passed. So remember that this is a game. The energy circulates through us. People will not get it, and if we loop it on for hours, they still won't get it. You did not come to this planet and don't have the necessary tools to protect yourself. You have angels around you, so you don't have to fear nothing. No matter how much fear they try to instill into you, you have human rights, and human nature will always win. They are not like us. And this goes for all Americans. They call us connecting to our culture a cheat code, connecting to the people. His performance, the songs is bigger than the music. Somebody has to do it. This is why he feels he's the greatest of all time. Because in this performance alone, he took out all of the buttons and the game is over. Scorekeeper, deduct one life. So now the game is trying to delete him. I hope y'all paying attention to the colors because now he is in the X full of his people that are wearing all white. Now he went from the square to the streets to the X. We are on the next part of this Super Bowl halftime show breakdown. I am your friendly rabbit. Follow me. You may think that the X that he's in means cancel him out because they said deduct one life. But on the PlayStation controller, X means confirm. So now they're going to attempt to erase him from the game. Now the angels in white are standing up. They like, hey, what you gonna do? They bouncing like you're not gonna do nothing. Like they ready to jump in. In every single corner, we notice that his angels are everywhere. And what he's saying is what they talking about nothing. What they talking about nothing. You don't want to go to war with it. Like it's zooming in. You see what I'm talking about? We suited and booted. Peekaboo, motherfucker. I'm performing peekaboo right now is like peekaboo. I see you. I see what you're trying to do. Notice at the top, slowly but surely is closing in though. They move away from one part of the X and eventually are backed into one corner. It's getting a little tight in here, but we're not going to let the fear get to us. We going to vibe. Then the Divine Feminine, only 4 of them are wearing white. During this whole fight, he's been on some revolutionary stuff. And he teases the song, They Not Like Us, but you know they like the Sue. You know they like the Sue. He didn't say that for Drake. He said that to represent how they use their legal system to manipulate the situations. Trying to push you in a corner. This whole time he been bucking up at the system. He been on some Revolutionary War types talking. Standing on business about his DNA and how he deserves it all. His land, his reparations. We're going to get to that. But he's going to slow it down. He's playing the game smartly. He knows they out to get him. So now he's going to try to appease them. He is now taking the recommendation from X of staying calm until you get in close with your enemy. So now it opens up to the Luther song with the women walking in a S-type shape, wearing red and blue. And the red is still at the forefront. Throughout this entire performance, this is the only time we've seen the women in white. Remember at the beginning, there were 4 men who were giving him protection, giving him the energy he needed to go along this journey. Now he's pulling on the Divine Feminine. They support him and they see what he's doing for the collective. He's at the front. The women are still wearing red, so they're still angry. There's been blood that has been shed over their sacrifices. Now, SZA is sitting on the upside down triangle, wearing red, and there are blue dancers on the side of her. The stage specifically looks like concrete, and you're in the street and there's street lights. Notice how in the X it didn't have any concrete under it. So now the divine feminine is trusting him. He wants the divine masculine and the divine feminine to come together. He's basically saying, like, if this world was mine, I'll take your dreams and make them multiply. I'm gonna make sure your enemies are taken care of. And the girls getting jumpy. They like, okay, wait a minute. SZA is wearing red. She says, in this world, concrete flowers grow, heartache. I'm only doing what I know. Even though I'm in this rage and this sacrifice that I've given to this country, I've done my part because I know better days are coming for sure. They're both harmonizing and saying, if it was up to me, we not giving nobody no sympathy. Kendrick is like, I've been fighting this game and I'm gonna take away your pain. Just give me a chance. Why is SZA standing on an upside down triangle? On the PS controller, the triangle is right side up. The triangle is the one at the top. We are in the rabbit hole, so whatever comes to the forefront down this path, we just gonna get into it. The triangle being at the top, I feel like it represents the eye of providence. We call it that because it's a cryptic symbol, the eye representing a secret group that believes in controlling the world. But the triangle is upside down. Now here's what the divine feminine has been doing. SZA was sitting towards the end of the triangle. The triangle being upside down, it resembles the downward flow of power flowing from the top to the down. Feminine energy, the element of water. It can also be interpreted as a symbol of instability or reversal of a usual power source. We are reversing the usual power source. And the next performance goes into all the stars are closer. So now the women and men are marching together. And as you notice, the women in red are now being protected by the men in white. This is what the divine feminine has been asking for eons. Now we're on the circle. We are about to cancel this game. We've come together, and now all the stars are closer. We already know about his verse on the O. He is saying, corrupting a man's heart with a gift, false promises in a conversation. I don't even like you. Kendrick saying, I don't want your congratulations. I don't want none of that. This is why we are on the O button, because I don't want your congratulations. We are about to cancel this game. Uncle Sam is happy with this performance. This is what America wants. Nice and calm. Don't mess this up. And with the strategy of X, he gets in close, and They Not Like Us starts playing. Uncle Sam feels like finally we got him in, but nope. The women of the divine feminine are finally in the streets with him. And they like, are you gonna do it? He start going about there's a cultural divide and says 40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music. They tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. This is for those who are not aware. Basically, we were promised 40 acres and resources. So after my ancestors being freed, well, my ancestors, they ran away. But Black people's ancestors can have some type of self-sufficiency. But here we go with the corruptions. After, what's his name? Abraham Lincoln. We can get into why they ended slavery really, but that's a whole nother story. After he was assassinated, Andrew Jackson took the stage. Andrew Johnson reversed the order by returning the original plantation owner their land. Makes you think, why would they give us the land of the plantation owners? You know, why would they do that? They didn't say, we're going to ship you back to Africa. We're going to give you your land back. We were promised this, but that was basically them rigging the game. And a lot of people will say that the NFL games have been rigged all the time. We have cultural representatives sitting at the table with the big white man. Because if they don't have control over who is influencing us, then it'll be bad for them. Now let's take this into a part 4 with his final message. Uncle Sam told Kung Fu Kenny that you're playing the game too reckless, it's too ghetto. Let's get into part 2 of the symbolism and breakdown of the Super Bowl halftime. Now we have the American flag split in half with him in the middle. He was ready to squabble up and then Uncle Sam sent him a message. Now we're seeing the blue organized, representing justice. Be humble and you will get justice. In this formation, the men put their hands together bowing down to the fight. The fist balled up and the hand on top of the fist represents that, bowing down. And then Kendrick says this. The camera zooms out and the crowd says stage 1. Remember at the beginning of the performance where the game was loading in the crowd and the lights. Uncle Sam is trying to control the trajectory of this game. And this is why this is the stage 1 of the game, because they know that there's going to be some radicalization, fight, and outrage in the game. We told the pawn to tighten up. Now let's see what he does. What does KDOT do? He plays DNA. Hold on, forget all of this. The flag scatters. You just want me to be peaceful. Hold on, that's not inside my DNA. It's war and peace inside my DNA. That's why the music turned off and put the war and peace inside my DNA. I'm the player in the game. I'm choosing what I want to do. I'm paying attention to my DNA. You're trying to mold me into being something that I am not. I am that I am. Then the camera zooms out to the crowd that says, warning, wrong way. The game is trying to warn him that you're playing it dangerous. I'm trying to guide you and I'm trying to set you up for this influence. I put you in this position to play your part. Why are you not being humble? So now that he's remembering his lineage, he's heavily stumping through the game fast. He didn't care about Uncle Sam saying tighten up. He didn't care about the wrong way symbol. He got the people marching through the streets. The next song that plays is Euphoria. Just because we down a rabbit hole right now. What's the first line of Euphoria? He didn't win that Pulitzer Prize for no reason. He has so many layers in his music. He was not just talking about Drake. As I read you these lyrics, think about him talking to the powers that be. Them superpowers get neutralized. I can only watch in silence. The famous actor he once knew is looking paranoid and spiraling. I calculate that you're not as calculated. I can predict your angle. A pathetic master manipulator. I can smell the tails on you. He's taking it all the way to Julius Caesar's level with making these representatives mad. It's starting off with red, white, and then blue. We are still dealing with blood being shed, but there is protection, but justice is also coming up. Now, I'm thinking about Michael Jackson at this moment. I'm thinking about XXXTentacion. I'm thinking about all the people who were slain, all the artists, Bob Marley, all of them who had influence for the street. Remember, Michael Jackson's sister LaToya was very, very angry after her brother had passed. He was about to get his masters back from Sony in 2009, and then she knew if they had something to do with him passing, nobody is sticking up for him, she's going to try to. But everybody in the industry was telling her to pipe down. Not even mentioning another deducted player, Tupac. In the Euphoria song, he said, see who you are and you're not real. I'm ready to go up against you and take that ring back. He said, have you ever walked your enemy down with a poker face? These posers trying to play with me. You want the dangerous me or the famous me? The next song that plays is Man at the Garden. But on the intercom, Uncle Sam says, you done lost your damn mind. You have made the disagreeables angry. You have made these higher ups and elites angry. So far in the marches and in the performances, the red has led. Meaning blood is being spilt. There is sacrifices happening all over. Not just artists in the industry, but freedom fighters that's in the Americas. This makes me think about Fred Hampton. At 21, this man was a leader of the Black Panther Party and he was unalived, assassinated during a police raid. Most people think that one of his associates in the Black Panther Party, who was his friend, put a drug in his drink to where he couldn't wake up. So when the raid happened, he didn't get up out of his bed. They just pew-pewed him soon as they came in. I bring this up because we are in Caesar's palace. Caesar's friend Brutus joined the assassination plot against Caesar. Kendrick, I'm pretty sure you know this, but you need to be very, very careful with who is around you. The whole setting is a street. The lights smoke out. The only light that is on is this one. Now remember, you lost your mind. The way this man is sitting up on the street light is representing the hanged man. How his arms are behind his head. He's not facing down so he can see them below. He's facing right side up. The foot is hanging. In tarot, the hanged man represents surrender. Hanging there by your own choice. A sacrifice to the greater good. There's always a halo on the hanged man's head. And there's a halo in the only light that is working on the street. The camera is specifically pointed upwards at the hanged man and then it comes down and they're on the street. Kendrick starts off by saying, I deserve it all. Knowing the truth of what has been happening to the American people, he said, keep these peasants away from me. I don't even want to be associated with this industry. I'm the greatest of all time because I'm sacrificing myself. And he has all of his angels with him. They got the grills on, they vibing. Notice how this whole performance, there's only been quote unquote black people. His ghetto angels is still with him. And then all of a sudden they leave and he walks away. Then Uncle Sam comes in. He says, I see you bought your homeboys with your culture cheat code. Scorekeeper deduct one life with a serious face. And this ties into the Fred Hampton story. When he was assassinated, this dismantled a core piece of the Black Panthers. Mind you, he was only 21 doing all of this. On the psyche of quote unquote Black Americans. This made our ancestors and us feel like anything that we do, we are going to be stopped. In 1967, when all of the melanated leaders were coming together, COINTELPRO, a branch program in the FBI. The main initiative was to discredit, disrupt, and destroy any black leaders or civil rights organizations. There are thousands of pages scattered across the database of the FBI on how they wanted to neutralize the fight for black rights. That deducting one life was put in for a reason, to show this example of constantly dismantling our created organizations for revolution. So we continue to march through the streets, and that is exactly what they want. This frustrating program that they have placed on black Americans. But Kendrick is sending a message saying, just because you're a gang, that does not mean that I can't outsmart you, which is about to lead us into part 3, where we are led to the big X.
I think they're going to try to sacrifice Kendrick.
Don't say that.
Why would she think that they're going to try to sacrifice Kendrick? Let's do a deep dive and decode the Super Bowl, because y'all been asking me. Do y'all see before the halftime show, they zoomed out and showed this big red button? The Super Bowl was located at Caesar's palace. What happened to Caesar? He gained a lot of power in the government of Rome and amongst the people, and he was going to bring Egypt and Rome together. Now, what happened to Caesar? He was assassinated because he gained too much power, and the government officials didn't like that. So Kendrick's halftime show starting off with this big red button is no coincidence as to why we would think that. Especially because Kendrick is not from Louisiana. Now, who chose Kendrick to perform the halftime show? Jay-Z. Jay-Z has very, very deep ties in the industry, and he is a representative for our culture. He's the one who sits down with the old white men. The strategy of picking K-Dot for the halftime show is directly linked to the awakening and the revolution that's happening within the minds of Americans. Kendrick Lamar as an artist transcends boundaries on hip-hop. There's a reason why he won a Pulitzer Prize in 2018. He provides breadcrumbs of revolutionary resistance in his music that Americans, and especially melanated people, can connect to. And that is what is currently happening in the minds of Americans right now, and Jay-Z knows that. As a fellow Gemini, Kendrick is very, very intelligent. He knows this. So now let's go to his performance. To start off the halftime, we are taken through the Apple. The camera angle that's showing us the stage is a PlayStation controller. On a PlayStation controller, the buttons are in a diamond shape with the triangle at the top. The buttons are in each corner, and the way he makes his moves are in the T, same way on the controller. As you notice in the crowd, the loading is at 100%, ready to start the games. Now, why would he have his stage as a PlayStation game controller? Who owns PlayStation? Sony. Now, I'm not pointing this out because of Drake. I'm pointing it out because of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson owned 50% of Sony and ATV Publishing, and he said that they were trying to get him and tarnish his image. And some people think because of his influence, just like Julius Caesar, he was assassinated. Throughout his performance, you will notice that he is paying homage to people who have fallen because of the game. Even Michael Jackson's sister, LaToya, wanted to investigate Sony. Because of this, there are a lot of people who are worried about her. They think that something is slowly depleting her energy. Now, the Super Bowl opens up with Samuel L. Jackson being Uncle Sam. He starts off by saying, "Welcome to America's greatest game." Kendrick chooses to open up on the square. Squares represent confinement, preventing energy from moving freely beyond the trap. Growing up in Compton, looking at the state of America and the melanated people here, he knows the trap has been set, and all you can do is play the game. Kung Fu Kenny opens up on his GNX in the same position that XXXTentacion was in his XXL freestyle. In his unreleased rap, he's speaking the same message that X put out. Some people believe that XXXTentacion was sacrificed because of his influence. On Pandora alone, he had 2.1 billion streams. In his 2017 XXL freestyle, he stated that he will be the one to unalive those who go against human rights, pointing out those who do bad go to prison in PC, which might mean professional corporation, which could be stating that privately owned prisons help higher ups evade real punishment. In this freestyle, he explains how you approach these disagreeable beings, staying calm and expressing the presence of their doom. And Kendrick opens up the same way. In this unreleased rap, he speaks on no more handshake and hugs. It's time. The energy only circulates through us, the people, and everybody must be judged. Also saying that in this performance, you will not get the picture if you sit for hours on a loop watching this. In this rap, he stated that he was given government money, but now he's going to seize the government with their own money. And as he stands up, he said the revolution will be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy. Some people on TikTok are saying that that's a shot at Trump. I think he's talking about himself. Basically saying, true, this is the right time for an artist like myself to be performing. But you picked the wrong person because now I'm finna speak. I am the judgment that comes for those who go against humanity. Now let's move on. People who coming out the car are red, white, and then blue. They are excited. They ready to pop off. They ready for whatever is to come. The white and the red shake hands. And then women in red are coming out the GNX. GNX represents humanity. After all of the players come out, the only ones who stay with him is the women in red. You notice that the women in red have wigs that are half black and half red. For Kendrick, the black is representing humanity and also representing Black Americans. That term black is for a whole nother video. Let's get into what these colors mean. We know that the colors that he used was to show symbolism to the American flag. The color red is the symbol of sacrifice and the blood of those who fought for the country. You know, the bravery it takes. The white represents purity, innocence, angels, freedom, peace when you wave the white flag. And blue represents justice and strength. In the performance when they got out of the GNX, the men left. He is the only man standing on the stage with the women who are all in red. Now, for those who know the statistics of melanated Americans' households, they know that the men leave and the women stay, but they deal with all of the sacrifices, taking care of life, and showing the willingness to stand by with all of this tragedy that is happening in America, and still decide to create life in this current circumstances. Now, Squabble Up turns on. There are men in white who are on the stage with him. Notice how there is no blue. They shield him and give him the energy and protection he needs to get through this. There is no blue. There is no justice right now, but he's still being amped up by the angels, by the white, the pureness, the innocence. Basically saying, we got him. What y'all gonna do? During this entire time, we know that Kendrick knows that he is a pawn. In my head, he is representing Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. Because in him saying the revolution will be televised, he's contradicting the original terms of what Jill Scott said. I feel like what Jill Scott meant is that there's no way that they are going to allow you on their platform to revolutionize the Americans, to show the truth, to speak about what's actually happening, to send a message to the Americans. Always twisting that free will, trying to reactivate the spell. So they're gonna need a pawn whose track record shows the connection of revolution, but also initiated into their industry, their system. Martin Luther King was having late night phone calls with the president. Then he realized he's integrated us into a burning house. And Kung Fu Kenny represents both being in the industry and also being a revolutionary. This is why he knows he's the pawn in this great American game connecting the culture. Now we gotta go to a part 2. I will see you there.